Welcome to the next episode. After Lot and Abram had parted, the Lord said to Abram, "Raise your eyes and look into the distance from the place where you are, north and south, east and west. All the land you can see I will give to you and to your descendants forever. I will make your descendants countless as the dust of the earth. If anyone could count the dust upon the ground, then he could count your descendants. Now go through the length and breadth of the land, for I give it to you." So Abraham moved his tent and settled by the terebinth of Mamre at Hebron, and there he built an altar to the Lord. It was in the time of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goyim. They went to war against Bera, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zor. Bela and Zor are the same place, it's saying. These kings joined forces in the valley of Siddim, which is now the Dead Sea. That's a famous lake, that's too salty for anything to live in it, so the Dead Sea. They had been subject to Kedorlaomer for 12 years, but in the 13th year they rebelled. Then in the 14th year, Kedorlaomer and his confederate kings came and defeated the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karnaim, the Zuzim in Ham, the Emim in Shaveh Kiriathaim, and the Horites in the hill country from Seir as far as El Paran on the edge of the wilderness. So there's two groups of kings. The first group of kings are the strongest and ruling over another group of kings who are rebelling. On their way back, they came to En Mishpat, which is now Kadesh, and laid waste all the country of the Amalekites and also that of the Amorites who lived in Hazazon Tamar. So the original strong kings are fighting back, against these, the other lesser kings, against who they see as rebellious. They're rebelling against the rule of the stronger kings. Here we go. Then the kings of the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah which is memorable ones, aren't they? Because they have the story later on. About that. Those kings were part of the lesser kings. So they'll be running away, I suppose, from these greater kings who are attacking back. Then the kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and Bela, which is now Zor, marched out and drew up their forces against them in the valley of Siddim, and against Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goyim, or Tidal, sounds a bit funny, Tidal, king of Goyim, Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar. 4 kings against 5. I'll just close this door. Now the valley of Siddim was full of bitumen pits. That's tar, oil tar for making roads, bitumen pits. And when the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, they fell into them, but the rest escaped to the hill country. Obviously there's no roads at this time, or not proper roads. The 4 kings captured all the flocks and herds of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their provisions, and went away. They also carried off Lot, Abram's nephew, who was living in Sodom, and with him his flocks and herds. But a fugitive came and told Abram the Hebrew, who at that time was dwelling by the terebinths of Mamre the Amorite. So we just find out that Abram was known to be of, a Hebrew tribe. Hebrew is the name of his tribe. So when he was in the original town before he moved to Canaan or Canaan. So this Mamre, terebinths of Mamre, this Mamre was the brother of Eshcol and Aner, who were allies of Abram. So Mamre was a person who lived there. We don't know anything else about him. So he was alive, Mamre. When Abram heard that his kinsman had been taken prisoner, he mustered his retainers. I think retainers are the people that he employs to look after his animals. Men born in his household, 318 of them, and pursued as far as Dan, which is a place, Dan. Abram and his followers surrounded the enemy by night, attacked them and pursued them as far as Hobah, north of Damascus. Damascus is in Syria, it's the oldest city in the world, something like that. He then brought back all the flocks and herds, and also his kinsman Lot with his flocks and herds, together with the women and the other captives. On his return from this defeat of Kedorlaomer and his confederate kings, the king of Sodom came out to meet him in the valley of Shaveh, which is now the King's Valley. So it's amazing, like how powerful Abram is. He's defeated the greatest of the kings, the king of Kedorlaomer, and I thought they'd drowned or died, the king of Sodom and Gomorrah, in these oil pits, but obviously they hadn't died. They'd just got caught in them and then defeated. So one of them came back to what did he do? Congratulate him. Yeah, came out to meet him. And we'll leave it there until tomorrow. Thank you very much.